Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to make the most incredible homemade granola. It's super simple to make and it's such a family favourite. The great thing about it is that it only requires a handful of straw-covered ingredients and you can customise it to use whatever nuts and seeds you prefer. It's such a great breakfast staple. Once you've made a big jar, it'll last for a couple of weeks and you can just serve it with some yogurt or some milk and some berries. It's super delicious and one of my favourite breakfasts in the summer. So the base of every granola is jumbo oats. So these are not the normal porridge oats, they're a lot bigger, which means you'll get great clusters in your granola. So to this I'm going to add 80 grams of pumpkin seeds and 80 grams of sunflower seeds. And then I've also got 100 grams of almonds and 100 grams of hazelnuts, which I'm just going to roughly chop. You can really use whatever nuts and seeds you prefer, but this is my favourite combination. And we just want to roughly chop them so that they blend nicely with the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so now I'm going to add the nuts to the oats and the seeds. Now it's time to make the spiced syrup. This is what really makes the granola. So I've got some olive oil in here, 120 grams, and to that I'm going to add 130 grams of honey. And it's a combination of olive oil and honey that together with the vanilla and cardamom make this granola incredibly fragrant and almost floral. And I'm going to boil these together just to help all of the flavours mingle. And then we're going to pour this all over the oats and the seeds and the nuts. I don't add the maple syrup at this point because maple syrup has a very delicate flavour, so you don't want it to get ruined by overheating it. So I'm just going to add a pinch of cardamom. So this is about 4 pods ground up. And I'm going to add the seeds and the actual pod of a vanilla pod. So for that, I'm just going to split the pod down the centre. So this is what the vanilla pod looks like. And I'm going to run a knife down the centre. And then I'm going to use the back of the knife to scrape out the incredible seeds. And add both of these to the syrup because they both have so much flavour. Perfect. So now I'm going to put this in a saucepan and bring it to a boil. And the reason why I measured the olive oil out first and the honey second is because having the olive oil at the bottom helps the honey to be released and not stick to the jug. Whereas if you put the honey first, it'll be impossible to get all of it out of the jug. Okay, that's perfect. So I've put the saucepan on a medium heat and I'm just going to gently bring this to the boil. And once it's bubbling, I'm going to whisk it to stop it from burning and bubble it away for about 20 seconds. And you'll be able to really smell it at this point, so you'll know it's ready. I've also preheated the oven to 150 degrees Celsius so that it's hot for when the granola is ready. Okay, so the syrup is beginning to bubble. And we're just going to leave it for a couple of seconds until it's rapidly bubbling. And then I'll time 20 seconds. So it will rise up the pan, so you do want to use a relatively deep saucepan to avoid it overflowing. Okay, so this is perfect. Keep whisking so it doesn't get stuck to the sides or burn. And we're now going to time 20 seconds. Then switch off the heat and just set it aside to cool slightly because it's going to be seriously hot at this point and you don't want to burn yourself. So whilst the olive oil and honey syrup is cooling, I'm just going to weigh out 165 grams of maple syrup. And we're gonna add the cardamom vanilla spice syrup to the maple syrup. Okay, so now it's time to pour the syrup over the oats, nuts and seeds. And be really careful because it is hot. And we just want to coat the nuts, seeds and oats with this incredible syrup. And then we're gonna pour it onto a baking tray, spread it out and pop it into the oven to bake. And it smells absolutely incredible at this point. You can smell the vanilla, the cardamom, the honey and the olive oil. And something incredible happens when you boil the olive oil and the honey together. It kind of creates a new fragrance and it's very floral and sweet and delicious. Now I'm going to give everything a really good stir. You want everything to be coated with the syrup. And I like to leave the vanilla pod in whilst I bake it because it just adds extra flavour. So this is what it should look like. And it smells absolutely incredible. So now I'm just going to line a baking sheet with some parchment paper and then I'm going to pour this mixture onto it. So you want to spread it out to form one even layer. And you don't want the layer to be too thick, otherwise it's not going to cook properly. Perfect. And 10 minutes before the granola is ready, I'm going to stir through 80 grams of coconut flakes. So this is what it should look like. There's one even layer, and it's about this thick. And now I'm going to pop it in the oven at 150 degrees Celsius, and it's going to cook for 45 minutes to 50 minutes total, but I'm going to give it a good stir every 10-15 minutes just to make sure it's cooking evenly. The granola's been baking for about 35 minutes now, so it's time to add the coconut flakes for the final 10 minutes. It should be nice and golden at this point, and you want to give everything a good stir so that it evenly cooks. Once you've given the granola a good stir, just press it all down to form an even layer and pop it back in the oven for another 10 minutes. The granola's been in the oven for 45 minutes now and it's beautifully golden and the coconut flakes are lightly toasted, so it's now ready to be taken out of the oven. I'm going to set it aside and leave it to cool completely, and then I'll use a spoon to gently break it up so you get lovely big clusters. The granola has completely cooled down and I'm just going to break it up into clumps. And as you can see, it's all stuck together, which means you get really nice clusters like this. And I love snacking on these. You can break it up as much as you like, but I like to keep reasonably large chunks in the granola, like this. And then you need to store it in an airtight container, and it'll last for about 2 weeks. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel, and follow me on Instagram at London Bruncher for lots more recipes.